back as the race has developed a green flag look about it. Larry, what's the trend of this race for caution flags? Now we have 600, not 500 kilometers. It's a longer length. But how does this race trend out?
It normally always finds a green flag run, and we get into green flag stops the middle to the latter part of the race. But this also says the trends say we get that late race caution that bunches them back up. Everybody hits pit road for tires.
They got to kind of run this race on what you know, and then that what you don't know, you'll know the next time you come back.
Montoya in second. He's had such success in Formula One and in Indy cars. He has one Sprint Cup victory. Logano in third, now 4.2 seconds off the lead. Rookie of the year last year. His teammate Kyle Busch, a winner here last night in the Nationwide Series.
His 65th career win in the top NASCAR 3 Series.
Matt Kenseth in fifth. He's come all the way from 27th to be a challenger here today. And Jeff Gordon, who started 10th and now runs just outside the top 5.
I think Jeff Gordon is one of those guys just lurking back there, watching the laps wind down. Clint
Bowyer in 7th. Steve?
Mike, he says his car is too tight in the center. His crew chief Shane Wilson said, good, it should be. It'll loosen up as it gets cooler.
Boyer's come from 25th. His teammate, Kevin Harvick, started 24th and has climbed to 8th place.
Both those cars are running very well, and so is Burton. They're all three right there, just hanging around.
Sam Hornish started in the second row. And for Roger Penske, he's done a stellar job today. 9th place for Sam.
Guy we were watching a little bit earlier, Carl Edwards, in that 99 car. He's running about where he started 9th, running 10th right now.
And I know the two cars wrecked, but the addition of Steve Addington to Penske Racing, all of these guys, the 77 and the 12, both have benefited.
3rd place, a swap of position between teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle Busch, who began the day in 17th spot, up to 3rd. Let's pick back up at 11th spot. Ryan Newman started 14th. He's up to 11th, 4 spots ahead of his teammate Tony Stewart. And Marcus Ambrose started in the 2nd row. Right now he's running in 12th place.
I think that's one of those cars that likes the long run, and I think the car behind him, Jeff Burton, the 31 car running in 13th, that's another one that tends to like the long runs. Not good on the short run, but the long run.
Robbie Gordon started way back in 33rd, Krista. He's up to 14th.
And what a great run for this 17. Remember, they're trying to get into the top 35 in points. They're just 54 points out of that coveted 35th position. So staying where they're at or improving today would go miles. And I mentioned Miles because officially their crew chief this race is Miles Stanley. Yes, they have Jimmie calling the race, Larry Carter as a consultant. Miles Stanley, a 2-year employee with the 7 team, is the crew chief.
I've been watching the 7 car just because I like Robbie Gordon and like to see how he's going to do. That's the best looking race car he's had on the racetrack, maybe in a year. Yeah. The car is handling and it's running, and it really looks good around the racetrack.
Good point. Tony Stewart had a major change on the car on the last pit stop, and it went the wrong way on him. He's back at 15.
Yeah, and Steve Burns was telling us that they're one of the groups they're waiting for this track to really cool down, that they feel like they've got to be a little bit patient, but I still think they've got some adjustments they're going to have to make on that car.
16th is the number 12 of Brad Keselowski, Matt.
Great run last night, Mike, in the Nationwide Series race, but for about the last 80 laps, he's been hovering just outside that 15th position. The previous run, he said the car was good. It was free from entry through center to exit. He's pretty pleased. They're about one more adjustment away from having the car where he thinks they could have a good top 10 to top 5 car.
17th, last year's winner and pole sitter here, Mark Martin. Now he's up 6 spots from where he started.
Boy, that's an unusual position for Mark to have his hands on the wheel. Normally, Mark Martin is both hands over on the left side of the wheel, really pulling that wheel down. I've never seen Mark driving a car quite like that there. I've never seen his right hand where it is right there now. Tells me that car's not doing something he wants it to do.
Darrell, I was looking at the stripe on the steering wheel that indicates straight, and it's bent way over. Could that car got knocked out of alignment?
You know, something's different because that's not the typical Mark Martin positioning as far as his hands on the wheel go.
You know, we're about 15 laps away from what will be another green flag pit stop, looking back at Mark Martin again, but we just saw Matt Kenseth go by Joey Logano in that 20 car. I think that 20 car will be one of the earlier cars to hit pit road when we get to that green flag window, because he's lost a couple of spots here just in the last few laps.
And most importantly, Logano's running about 4/10 slower than the rest of the race leaders. Jeff Gordon's going to go past Logano. That's for 5th place. And here is Montoya, 1.4 seconds off of Jimmie Johnson's lead. Steve.
And Mike, he just caught a lucky break. He was starting to overheat. His spotter tab Boyd said, "You've got something on the grill." Moments later, he said, as you see him slip a little bit, he said, "I just saw a big piece of paper come off. I think we're okay."
You can see it right there.
Boy, that is a break.
I think there's oil in turn 2. I saw a number of cars that really looked like they were having a problem off of turn 2, Montoya being one of them.
And just as after that started, Darrell, the 55 of Dave Blaney was very slow going down the backstretch.
Yeah, something happened over to the racetrack off 2. I believe there might be oil or water or something over there.
It's the 5th caution flag of the day, and it is for fluid in turn 2. Good catch.
I thought something had happened to Montoya's car. I just saw the car slip really bad, and he almost stopped. And then I said, "Whoa, what's going on over there?"
Tell you what, that was a big break for Dale Earnhardt Jr., David Rudiman, Greg Biffle. Those guys were just about to go a lap down to the 48.
Watch the 42, Larry. He's coming through here, coming, and all of a sudden that thing got really bad loose with him, and he's lucky to catch it and save it.
And Dave Blaney has coasted his car into the garage. There was no trail of fluid behind it, so not sure if he was the reason for the caution flag. Scott Speed will get the free pass. And here comes everybody to pit road. Krista.
About 10 laps ago, Jimmie Johnson said he was losing the ability to turn into turn 1. Then he said about 5 laps later, "My car is getting tight." The crew goes to work making an adjustment. Matt?
The 17 of Kenseth, Matt said that his car was getting worse and worse on that run as far as grip. Loose in, loose off. Air pressure change for Kenseth, Steve.
Chassis adjustment for Juan Pablo, Matt. He says, "When I lean on it too hard, it snaps." 4 tires also and a clean windshield. Nick?
Kyle Busch doesn't really know what he wants to do to his race car. They are going to be chasing the racetrack. He is leery of trying to make any significant changes, so they didn't make any on that last round of pit stops. The track is going to change, according to Kyle Busch, now that the sun has gone down behind the mountains.
Tell you what, Kyle Busch's pit crew, they are rocking and rolling down there. They pick up a spot, and look at Carl Edwards in the 99 group, 3 spots.
185 laps to go. We're under caution in the Subway Fresh Fit 600 on Fox.
Just over halfway here in Phoenix, about another hour of daylight. Jimmie Johnson leading Kyle Busch, and time for an AT&T race break. If you tuned in a little bit late, Denny Hamlin, who won the last time we raced and had the knee surgery in pain, has hung in there but has not been a factor. Hamlin winning 3 of the last 11 races, but never led in this one. Kurt Busch, who's led the most laps of any driver this season, involved here with Casey Kane. Actually, Hamlin caught up in part of this as well. So aside from physical pain, some damage to his car, Juan Pablo Montoya has led the most laps, 104, passing Tony Stewart for the lead here, and Jimmie Johnson, the points leader. 4 of the last 5 wins. Races run here in Phoenix, taking the lead, and he is your leader now, 45 laps and continuing to lead. Moments ago, after the 5th caution here, Kyle Busch with some problems in the pits, complaining about the tear off and at least the vision. but certainly the pit stop, his crew came out of it okay.
Yeah, they made a good stop right there. Take a quick look here compared to Jimmie Johnson right there at 12.9 on that 18 car. I mean, he really smoked him, especially on that right side, and the left side was pretty darn quick also. But look how he compared to Jimmie Johnson, and in particularly Juan Pablo Montoya. They had a very slow stop. He was